Hey there, Press Starters, and welcome back to another special edition of Press Start Leadership Podcast, Conversations with Christopher. On this week's awesome edition of Press Start Leadership Podcast, we have the most amazing guest I've yet to bring on, a longtime friend, Katie Downey, also known as Goblin Katie. Now, let's meet the Goblin Katie.
Hello, hello.
Hey, welcome.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I've had a great morning and pretty good week leading up to it, so it's a good day.
Excellent. Good days are better than bad days, that's for sure, especially after the year we've had. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So, Katie, I've known you for a really long time. And I don't need any introductions, but those listeners and viewers, there'll probably be a few folks who do know you in some ways, but how about you give us a little bit of your origin story? Where does Katie Downey come from and what is she doing?
Well, I am a streamer and podcaster for tabletop RPGs and a LARPer in the Georgia area. I've been doing geek stuff since high school, so a very long time, bouncing between tabletop and LARPing. I love all things geeky and theatrical, and you can catch me on a variety of shows, but mainly I'm just doing the geek stuff.
Sure. Well, let's talk a little bit more about the shows because that's more of a recent thing, and then maybe we'll go backwards a little bit from there. But yeah, what's going on with the shows? What are you doing? Like, what is this? Because some people might not be aware that like shows. What geeky shows exist? This is something
Yes.
they might want to know more about. Tell us.
I play Dungeons and Dragons every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on twitch.tv/rockpunchatl, and that is the D4 stream. It's a 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons campaign. We just finished playing Waterdeep, and we are now in full homebrew mode. So we've head outside the city and we're adventuring into the Star Mounts, and it is an absolute blast of a game. And that's a lot of fun. I also appear on the Stellar Arcanum podcast, and that releases every other Monday on all the major podcasting networks. That one is a 5th edition, also Dungeons and Dragons. Classic D&D characters find a spaceship and wind up in deep space, and it is an absolute blast of a game. It's very different from a lot of the other shows that you'll find out there. It's a very non-traditional D&D game.
Gotcha.
And I do
So
charity
what do you mean
one-shots
by
here
that?
and there.
Oh,
Huh?
sorry. Yeah. So
Oh, no, go ahead.
No, keep going, and we'll get back to it. Keep going.
Okay. I do a bunch of charity one-shots here and there, especially for organizations like Jasper's Game Day, which is a organization that benefits suicide awareness and prevention. I've begun interacting with a couple other charities. I've done Extra Life for years. I love the fact that I can play a game and raise money and benefit causes that genuinely matter in the world. And then let's see what else. Oh, and I LARP. I play a game in Atlanta called Calamity, and it is a Weird West game, alternate history Weird West game. And oh my God, it's a delight.
It sounds delightful. Deliciously delightful.
Yes.
So let's step back for a moment. Let's go back to so how long ago did you get started doing the online D&D? I mean, you've played D&D for years, right?
Oh, yeah.
But online D&D is fairly new. I mean, a lot of folks have been kind of been doing it for a while. But you yourself, how long have you been doing it? How did you stumble upon it?
I actually had LARPed with a gentleman named Dustin Fletcher. He's one of the 2 DMs we have on D4. We run 2 DMs simultaneously. They run the game together, and it's brilliant to watch them play back and forth. But Dustin got a hold of me and in 2018 and asked if I would be interested in streaming a Dungeons and Dragons game. And honestly, I just wanted to play a Dungeons and Dragons game. So I was like, yeah, sure, that sounds like fun. What's streaming?
Of course.
And like 2 days later, I got a call from Adam Jones, who's the DM for Stellar Arcanum, and he asked if I'd be interested in being on a podcast and for a D&D game. And I said, absolutely, I would love to. So I completely lucked out and knew both of them from LARPing, have played with them for years. And since then, just getting to know people in the D&D community. I've fallen in with different groups. I've done short campaigns with some other groups, and it's been an absolute delight.
It sounds kind of like a geek dream, if you will.
It really is, like, especially the occasions where you get paid and you become a professional streamer. It just blows my mind that this is possible.
Yeah, that sounds incredible.
Yeah.
Maybe tell a little bit about the experience of how that's grown, right? Like you had your first stream experience, you did some recordings for the podcast, and then like, you know, it's not just showing up and playing, right? There's
Right.
a lot more to it, right? You're on Twitter, right. you're out there promoting it, and you're building your community, and people are meeting you, and so maybe walk people through like what that's been like. Okay. You know, yeah,
sure.
I'm sure they would love to hear it, because like, you know, I mean, you're a real person doing real things. You have a real life outside of this, and then, you know, suddenly you have this awesome side thing that's going on, and it's super cool.
I like to call it my side hustle.
Side hustle, exactly. Yeah.
A lot of what I do is having an online presence. You do prep during the week. Like for D4, the DMs will ask the Monday following our game, they'll say, what do you want to do this week? And we come up with a list of things that we want to attempt or accomplish, and we send that into them, and they kind of build where the story goes based on what we're wanting to do. So there's a lot of off-camera thought and effort that goes into it. We also have puzzles and stuff that I'll sit down between games and look over my notes. I take copious notes during the sessions. And so I'll sit down. Oh yeah. I'll sit down between games and study my notes just to make sure I remember the stuff and see if any pieces fall into place while I'm able to focus a little more on them. Because streaming, you do have to be on and active listening, and it's not just playing the game. You have to perform while you're playing. But otherwise, it's
just click off. People are just like, eh.
Yeah.
I don't want any more of that.
Yeah.
People looking at their sheets. That's not fun.
Right.
Exactly. You guys
exactly.
are quite animated. I mean, some of the clips that come from your show are hilarious. I think just all the outtakes, or not. I guess they're not outtakes. They're just takes of
they're just
so
brief moments.
Yeah, they're fantastic. So
we have one from D4, the Rash Pants story. And that one, every episode before we come back, because we go on a break for about 20 minutes. It's a 4-hour show. So we play for 4 hours, and we have a 20-minute break in there. And every time we're about to come back from the break, we play the Rash Pants story, which is just one of the funniest things that's happened on the show. It's an absolute blast. But the same with Stellar Arcanum. I don't take the best notes for Stellar Arcanum, but one of the other cast members, one of the other players, will take notes, and she'll share them with us. So I'll go over them just to make sure I know what's going on and have a vague idea. My character's not much of a planner for that show, so I don't have to worry about it as much.
Yeah, very nice. Well, that's super cool. So you build your personality, you build your online presence. You get, you know, you guys, I remember when the show was first starting out, you were getting a lot of traction pretty quickly. A lot of getting attention from, you know, WotC and some other stuff, right? There was in the actual official Dungeons and Dragons, and some making appearances. And then this build up to meeting other folks in the community and so forth. And you've been doing some of these, like you said, these charity groups. So maybe talk about some of these charity games and stuff you've done, and where that's gone, because that's pretty cool, and who you've met, and you know.
Sure. Yeah. I've been incredibly fortunate in the community. I've met some of the most amazing people. It's amazing to me that I have had the opportunities that I've had. Dustin and Devin did a lot of work up front getting D4 recognition. We're sponsored by some of the major brands, D&D Beyond, Beetle and Grimm, Pandemonium Warehouse, Eldritch Foundry.
Those guys are insane. They do the
Yeah.
crazy boxes and special
I
stuff
love them
for.
to death. They're
Yeah.
amazing. I'm an official goblin of Beetle and Grimm. I have a union card and everything.
Oh,
I got to do a commercial for them, and as part of
nice.
it, I had a union card, and I kept it as a souvenir. So, but Matt and the whole gang, they're just absolutely amazing. So yeah, Matthew Lillard. I've met Chris Perkins, who is just a lovely person, as kind and gracious as he could be. I met some of the cast of the Critical Role. Matt Mercer is exactly as kind and lovely a person as you hope he would be. He was gracious. I met him at the D&D Beyond party for Critical Role when they were doing the election between Liam and Sam for who was going to be president of D&D Beyond. And that was an amazing night. I felt like just a starry-eyed kid in a room full of important people, and it was a wonderful experience that I'm going to treasure for a long time. But I've come to be involved in amazing causes like Jasper's Game Day. I met Fenway Jones through that. She's the founder of Jasper's Game Day. The story behind it is Fenway was best friends with a young man named Jasper, and he lost his life to suicide. And so every year on his birthday, she would get together with his family and they would play a game of D&D in his honor. And Satine Phoenix found out about this, and because Fenway was trying to make something more of it, and she got in touch with Satine Phoenix, and Satine helped her evolve it into a genuine charity. And she helped her with arranging the first Jasper's Game Day charity event. And Fenway is a remarkable young woman, just incredibly impressive. She's got drive. She's going to be a massive force for good in this world. And she has taken it. It's this year we're doing Jasper's Game Week, which is coming up. It will have already happened by the time this comes out, but I'm very excited. I get to play in one of the premiere games. We're actually going to have Lee Goldberg doing pancake art as we play. He takes different colors of batter and draws these amazing works of art, and using pancake batter. It's mind blowing. He's
Can you eat it still though?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Yep.
The
other day he
awesome.
posted
Even
a picture
better
of his
if you can eat
kid eating.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So there's Jasper's Game Day. I run a event in October called Critical Tits, and it is a breast cancer research fundraising event.
Thank you for explaining that a little bit more.
Yes. It evolved from a conversation at a bar, and I realized we were joking around about it, and I realized that the funny name could actually become something really good. 100%. And so it amuses me to watch people struggle with saying the name, but that's I genuinely enjoy this. We did it for the first time this past year, and we had just wonderful participation. I think we had 9 different streams that participated. Wow. And these were folks from the community. I just asked for volunteers, and people signed up, and they were brilliant. We had a lot of fun. We raised a lot of money. And it was a banner occasion.
Awesome. Yeah.
And then
it's probably going to be just as successful, if not more so, this year. So
I hope so. Yeah, we're really excited about this year. I've talked to a couple of my friends in the industry, and we've got some folks who are going to be helping out that are well known in the industry. So until everything's official and all the I's are dotted and T's crossed, I can't really name
Of
drop,
course.
but
No. We
yeah.
don't do that. But it sounds tantalizing enough. So,
Yes, tantalizing.
yeah. Well, I think of enough people just from the stories already told, and if you check out Goblin Katie's Twitter, you'll see many of the folks that she knows within the industry that interact with her on a number of occasions. So
And they are lovely people.
they are. They are. You do have a fantastic base of folks that interact with you and discuss. I won't say fan base because a lot of them are friends and so forth. So it's just
Yeah.
a good community. We'll go with
Yeah,
community of
exactly.
people,
It's
right?
and that's the way I prefer to think of everything, as community. Rather, to me, saying fan puts sort of a barrier there that I'm not comfortable with, because I wouldn't get to do the things I get to do without support. And uh, the people who surround me and support me are amazing folks that I am very grateful to know. And so I prefer to say viewers, listeners, or community.
Yeah. You have a great community.
I do.
I interact with them on occasion as well. They're
Yeah.
quite friendly.
Yeah.
The So just to segue a little bit off, gaming is one of my pillars, but I do like to touch on all the other pillars, and folks here, tend to come from a leadership background or want to be leadership, right? So a lot of the folks that I talk with and support and help and work with are new to leadership, and so I like to teach them leadership in what I consider the same way I would want to teach someone art, right? You don't show people bad art to teach them art. You show them good art, right?
Yeah.
You show them the best. So I like to ask my guests, what do you consider good leadership?
To me, good leadership is somebody who leads through example, showing that what you're asking of others is something that you are aware of the steps involved. You are willing to take them yourselves, that you are not going to ask something of others that you're not willing to do yourself. I'm very much a lead by example kind of person.
In the
Um,
trenches, right? Side by side with the person,
yeah,
or, leading, right? Like
yeah, yeah,
leading the way by doing. Yeah, I
yes.
totally agree with you on that.
Yeah, and not I have I really don't like when folks do what I say, but I'm going to do this other thing. Do what I say, but not what I do is not. I apologize if you can hear my dog barking.
Stella? No, that's Stella.
Okay.
If we could bring Stella onto the show, I would. But no, that's
Yeah,
fine. Just
yeah.
the
I
fact that she
think
gets to be on the podcast by bark alone is fine. No worries.
yes.
Yeah, she's a star in of herself.
She is. She is a. She's a. I'm pretty sure Great Dane, Staffordshire Bully mix. So
Something.
she's 100 pounds of I'm going to do what I want.
It's true. It's
Yeah.
true. If you follow Katie, Goblin Katie on Twitter, you'll also get to see the occasional Stella photo, which is
Oh yeah.
just for that
Yeah.
alone is worth the follow.
They're usually her laying in bed sleeping, but they're sweet pictures. I love her to death.
She's a sweet.
But now I think that to be a good leader, you have to prove your own worth and not just ask the people who are following you to prove theirs.
Yeah. Well, very true. Very true. All right, on to another serious question. What's your favorite donut?
Chocolate covered with sprinkles, or lemon filled. I'm kind of tied between the two of them. It depends on my mood, really. If I'm feeling like I need a good sugar rush, I want that chocolate covered with sprinkles. If I want something a little less sugary, I mean, it's covered in powdered sugar, but in my head, it's less sugary. I'm going to go with the lemon filled.
Brand?
I like Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, me too. All right,
Yeah.
that's fair. That's
Yeah.
fair. Yeah. I've never had the lemon filled. I don't.
Oh, they're so good. They're
I think
so
I
good.
avoided that. I think because usually like the filled donuts, especially Dunkin' Donuts, sometimes it's a crapshoot. Like you don't know what you're.
Yeah.
Because they're all powder covered, and so you're kind of like, is it chocolate filled?
What am I getting
Is it
here?
Boston cream? Well, Boston cream will be chocolate covered, so it wouldn't be the same.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever. Maybe I have. I don't know.
If you get the chance, next time you have the opportunity, if you're at a Dunkin', ask for a lemon filled. It's filled with like lemon pudding.
Yeah, but it's like neon yellow, right?
Yeah.
Like it could be classified as radioactive.
I'm pretty sure it is, but it's worth it.
All right, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. Definitely worth a try on that one. I'll give it a shot. All right.
Yeah.
So going back to some notoriety on Twitter and
Mhm.
in the D&D scene, Goblin Katie. Well, you've been Goblin Katie for long before that, but
Yeah.
goblins like clickety clacks,
Yeah.
and you are quite the clickety clack dice collector. In fact, a lot
Yes.
of the sponsors and so forth that exist on this show, I think, might come from your, I won't say obsession, that might not, obsession, with dice.
Obsession
And
works. Yeah.
obsession, yeah, I think so. So tell it, like, what what got you? Because I remember, if I remember correctly, you were starting off in this streaming D&D, and you've played D&D for years and tabletop, but you didn't actually have like a ton of dice to start off with, right? And then you started to pick them up again, and then it just what happened, Katie? Why did it happen?
It started out because I had stopped playing tabletop games for about 10 to 15 years. I was just LARPing. And when the guys asked me if I wanted to play in the games, I said, yeah, sure, and realized I needed to pick up a set of dice because I didn't have any anymore. So I bought a set, and they were a silver metal set with turquoise inlay. And I was like, oh, these are really pretty. Okay.
Hmm.
And I played a session with them, and they didn't roll real well. So I was like, okay, I
Unlucky
need another
dice.
set.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
fair. Unlucky dice. You got to get a new one.
Yeah. Yeah. So I bought another set. And then I saw a set that was really pretty. And I was like, oh, I want those. But oh, look at this website. It's full of pretty dice. And I
Wow.
started buying dice. I started collecting in January of 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And as of today, April of 2021, I have over 600 sets of dice.
Sets.
Um,
Right. That's to be clear. It's not 600 dice. I think we need
no,
to point this out. And for the listeners out there who don't know how many dice are in a set, it's like roughly what, 6 to 8,
7 to 11
7
typically.
to 11.
Yeah.
So do the math, because I won't pull out your calculator. That's a lot of dice.
It's a lot of dice. I have two shelves. I'm actually looking at them right now. I have two shelves that are full of dice. I've got all of my metal, wood, and precious stone sets are in dice vaults,
Mm-hmm.
and
Because they
because I want to
make
make sure
those.
they're safe.
Because they make those
Um,
now. Yeah.
yeah, my acrylic and resin sets are in 32 slot craft organizers.
Mm-hmm.
I highly recommend them for storing your dice if you're looking for an option. They work beautifully.
If you have more than 2 sets, yes.
Yeah, if you have more than two sets, then get a craft organizer. They're great.
Sure.
If you have, I'd say if you have under 10 sets, splurge and get some vaults for them. Hit me up on
Okay.
Twitter. I'll recommend some companies to you.
Yeah. Long gone are the Crown Royal bags for holding dice.
Yes, I'm trying to find one. I need to get a Crown Royal bag. They did a special bag for Coming to America
Mm-hmm.
that
Oh
is,
yeah.
oh, it's beautiful. It's so cool. And I'm trying to get my hands on one. So that's the next purchase I'm looking to make.
Next splurge. All right.
My little
Yeah.
splurge, yeah.
Yeah. But like, I mean, that's super cool. Like when I first started tabletop role playing when I was a kid, and many moons ago, um, we had dice. We had cool looking dice. We had resin dice.
Yeah.
There was metal dice, but I mean, I think what's really interesting is now it's like couture
Yes.
geekiness, right? Like, I mean,
I
if you
have
were to be,
switched. I
yeah,
primarily buy handmade dice now.
mm-hmm.
A lot of custom dice where I send a
Bespoke,
design idea to the
yeah,
maker and they create the dice based on what I want. And I've bought most of the standard sets that I like at this point. So
sure,
I was spending a lot on dice. So I've
no,
switched over primarily to handmade dice.
wow,
There are a couple companies that I absolutely love, and I buy
mm-hmm.
metal dice and standard dice through them.
Cool,
But for the most part, I focus on they're like works of art. They
yeah,
really are.
mm-hmm.
The handmade dice and the custom dice are next level.
Yeah,
I have one set that has cherry blossoms hand painted on them. and they're just absolutely beautiful.
I thought you were going
So
to tell me
it's
that they actually had like cherry blossoms like captured in the resin, like
yeah,
as
yeah.
they
I've
were
got so
forming
much
them,
cherry blossoms in them.
they knocked the tree and the blossoms fell down
Yeah.
and they captured them in the moment just perfectly, and you're just like,
Oh, they're beautiful. They're
for
absolutely
sure, for
beautiful.
sure.
So
Yeah, it's a
it's a
good,
passion.
yeah, that is a passion, but it's a good time to be a geek. I mean,
Oh yeah.
like again, you got so many options. There's people out there that can have a company and a career
Hmm.
making custom dice just for Katie, and
Yeah.
other people probably, but like probably could just for Katie, and stuff out there, and that's amazing. And then you talked about the I want to say their name correctly because I Bartle and Grimm, correct?
Beetle and Grimm.
Beetle Grimm, see,
Yes.
yeah, Beetle Grimm, and they make these phenomenal sets that are not like you're not gonna like you're gonna save up for these if
They're
you're a
not
kid.
cheap. They're
Yeah,
not
yeah.
cheap.
This is for the high level. I mean, they've got one coming out
Yeah.
for Ravenloft if it isn't out already.
They've done a reissue on it. They
Reissue, right?
did a first round, and it was so popular they're doing a second round. That's the
Yeah,
Curse of Strahd Legendary box.
yeah, and that bad boy is what 500.
I think it's like $4.99.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
499, not
I'm
500.
trying to be exact. I think that
No,
one
no,
is
no,
$4.99.
four
I know
ninety
their
nine.
platinum boxes are typically going to run about $500.
Yeah, and it's not, and then we're not saying $4.99. We're
Yeah,
saying
no.
$499 when we say that. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, that's awesome. You got like, but I mean that's where we're at now, right? Like,
Yeah.
these are the people who have disposable incomes.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's $3.99. It's
390.
$399.
Okay, my
I
bad.
just checked it real quick.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. Might as well be as accurate as possible, so
Yeah.
they can get those extra sales in just in case.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean they're incredible. I mean they're incredible pieces. I mean if you really want to run like a top of the line, top notch, and you don't want
Yeah.
to make it yourself, heaven
They
forbid.
they put
They do
together
these. So
they've got battle maps in there. They've got canvas maps in them.
yeah,
They've got all sorts of stuff.
yeah, yeah, like coins
The
sometimes, right?
Yep,
Like
they've got physical props, coins,
journals.
necklaces.
Yeah.
The Curse of Strahd box has finger puppets in it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean it's worth it for the finger
Yeah,
puppets
that's worth.
alone.
I think it'd be worth it for the finger puppets. And
Yeah,
yeah, that says a lot actually. Yeah, you might need to force
yeah,
one of your campaigns over to Ravenloft.
yeah.
So
But they do also sell a lot of the props and shirts and stuff on their website a la carte. So
okay.
you can't get everything, but
Can you get the finger puppets?
no,
See,
I wish.
yeah, that's
I think that's the
they
selling point of the
they're
Curse of Strahd box.
they're smart. No, they're
Yeah,
smart. They're
it's
smart.
genius. It's genius,
Hold back the good stuff. Yeah.
right?
But I mean, we talk about it. So miniatures used to be the thing. Now you've got
Mhm.
custom dice. You've got 3D printers, so people are printing out their own miniatures and so forth.
Yeah,
Nowadays, you've got these tables that some people are like, they're so expensive, but if you're going to buy a nice table anyway and you have your friends
yeah.
over to play, you might as well set it up so it can actually have a good utility more than just eating your dinner set or
Yeah.
breakfast.
The good thing that I've noticed
Mhm.
with the high ticket items in the geek sphere is you
Yeah,
get what you pay for.
exactly.
Um,
It's quality, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You get really good quality for your money on a
Yeah.
lot of the geek products.
Well,
And
there's a reason for that, though. I guarantee you,
oh
and it's
yeah,
because we are not a quiet community. That is for sure.
no,
So,
we will make our opinions known.
yeah, yeah. Heaven forbid.
Yeah, there's a couple companies in the dice world that discovered that in the last couple years. So yeah.
Lessons learned.
Hmm.
Thankfully, yeah. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to divert over for a moment from geekdom for a bit, but we're going to come back
Sure.
because that's what I know well as well, quite a bit too. Another pillar, another thing important to me is mindfulness, meditation, and so forth. And I like to ask my guests, what is your Zen? How do you find mindfulness? And it's been a crazy year, and not everyone's people's heads have been all over the place. So finding Zen's been very difficult. So I'd love to know what any tips and tricks that you might have, or how you get by with all of that.
Um, Getting into nature is really big for me. I love going out. We've got a bunch of parks in my area, and I love going out to them and just walking through the woods. Sometimes I'll take Stella with me, but when I do that, I don't get very far because she has to smell everything. So I leave her at home sometimes when I really need to clear my head, and I just go out to these trails through the woods and walk them, and just the quiet and the sounds of nature rather than the hustle and bustle really help me kind of ground and center. I've found that some games like Minecraft, I can just play mindlessly and zone out. And when I need to get away from the things that are weighing on my mind, I will play some Minecraft and just lose myself in the digging.
In the digging and avoiding the creeps.
Yeah, digging and avoiding creepers, and I'm good. I also have a friend who every Wednesday we get together on Zoom, and we call it clinking. We do like a happy hour clink, and we just hang out and talk about our last week and make each other laugh.
Yeah, I was going to ask for more explanation on the
yes. The foundation of the name is that we would each get a drink. Each of us would have an adult beverage, and we would reach up and clink at the camera.
Yes, that's awesome.
So that has been a major mental health promoter for me. I think that's pretty much where I get the majority of my centering and peace of mind from. No, I have a wonderful support network around me. So
well, that's important too. Yeah, and I think that calls back to your community a little bit too, right? Like, I know sometimes if you're having bad days, and you give and receive both ways. So you're as much as you're sometimes asking, occasionally it's not actually much. Occasionally asking for like, hey, I had a bad day, and everyone's like, hey, how can we be there for you? I love the positivity you put out into the community as well. Like just telling people like things that they just need to hear or listen to.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't, but if they are that person, I think it's always nice to kind of see that message out there that like, hey, you know, you're awesome, or well, I say that a lot, but like, you know, you're who you are, you're doing great, whatever it is that you're doing today, you know, and
you've made it this far. I'm proud of you.
There you go.
And a lot of times it's stuff that I think to say because it's things I need to hear too. And acknowledging that you're not alone in your struggles and that you're not the only one who is having a difficult time facing this last year has been just a garbage fire of a year. And acknowledging that we're in it together, I think really helps.
Sure.
And I'm so grateful for the people around me, the way they, even just the silly things like posting a meme that made me giggle. That's a positive impact on my life. And that's something that I'm grateful for. So I try to extend that same support into the rest of the community. And I love on Sunday mornings, I get together with my friend Jordan and we stream classic World of Warcraft, and it's us just goofing around on a stream. And the regular folks who come in and hang out with us on that stream, I love them to death. They are just a bright ray of sunshine. It's the best possible way to start off my week, and I love it. There are mornings where I'm dragging to get to the computer and I'm on there for 5 minutes and they have me just smiling and laughing and having a good time. So it's a very supportive community.
And that's on a separate Twitch stream, right? That's your own personal Twitch.
My personal channel. Yeah. That's twitch.tv/Goblin Katie.
Goblin Katie.
And we've toyed around this past week. We actually me and some of my friends started playing Minecraft on stream. And I think we're going to keep doing that. We had an absolute ball. Bunch of wonderful people turned out and hung out with us in chat. And it was very entertaining.
Is that scheduled as well, or is that just random?
It was random this week. We're actually looking at what day everybody's free. It was myself, Adam Jones, and Strike Red Kite. And we and Jordan was moderating the channel, but she was in our Zoom call as well, talking and joking around with us, and we had a blast. The folks watching had a blast. So we're looking at making that a regular thing.
Nice. Very
Yeah.
nice. I just go back to something you mentioned because I'm curious. So you're a Sunday is the start of the week, not Monday start of the week.
Yes.
Person. Okay, that's
Yes.
fascinating. I'm always curious because that's very different wherever you go.
Oh yeah.
And it's so different that they actually give you the option in most calendars to decide whether or not you start your week on Sunday or you start your week on Monday.
Typically, if it's a work-related thing, I start my week on Monday.
Sure.
But in general and overall, I consider Sunday the start of the week.
Okay. Wow. Little trivia fact.
Little fact about me.
Yeah. So I think I've already touched this just in the way you've talked, but I like to ask people about their if they aren't chronic gamers and they're leaders or meditation gurus, which I haven't had on yet. But so this would be the next set of questions that go into it. But what's your favorite tabletop system? Which I assume is D&D 5th edition.
It is. D&D 5th edition is my favorite, closely followed by Fate Core.
Okay. Yeah. And you've had a good session, and I mean I know you've done plenty of sessions in D&D 5th edition.
Oh yeah.
And but in Fate, so maybe tell the audience a little bit more about Fate Core, because
sure,
it's one that I know a little bit about, but I'm sure people would love to hear.
Fate Core is
Why you like it so much?
I like it primarily because it's a very open system. It's very collaborative. There's not a whole lot of rules that structure how you play. Instead of using the standard polyhedral dice set, the 7 to 11 piece dice set, you use fudge dice, and they are 6-sided dice that have pluses, minuses, or blanks on them. And when you want to do something, you describe what you want to do. And you roll those dice, and you get successes or nothing. I don't want to say failure, because that's not really.
I get what you mean. It's like mishaps and so forth.
Yeah. And based on what you get, the game master sets like a target for it, and based on what you get, you typically will succeed, but there'll be a complication if you didn't roll well.
There you go.
Yeah. And it's you build advantages that reflect later in combat. Like I may flip a table over to provide cover, and somebody else could use that as cover to pop up and shoot over. And since they can kind of get a view around the table, they can get an advantage because they have a moment to aim before they fire. Things like that. And it allows everybody at the table to really build and shape the narrative in a team-oriented way. And I love that about the system.
That sounds. I mean, it actually sounds like a really great, fun game. I've played it in the past. Well, I think Spirit of the Century is on the Fate system, if I remember correctly. It's pretty fun game as well. But I'm gonna be honest. I kind of feel like the reason you like this game is it's an excuse to buy a different set of dice.
You're not wrong.
I was just there like, it's just like, well, I only have 2 sets of fudge dice.
Yeah, so I had to get more, and I had to get fancy ones.
Do they make fancy fudge dice?
They do. I've got some metal sets, and I've got there was a set I got that is it was a Kickstarter, and they're these really pretty acrylic, but the pluses on them are stars, and the minuses are lines that came off the stars. And they're so pretty. I love them. They're beautiful dice. So those are a little different. I've got some metal sets, but and then I've got some blood splattered sets, because you got to have blood splattered dice. I mean, yeah. But I think I've got maybe a dozen sets. Fudge dice aren't as common. They're a little harder to find.
I'll be honest, Katie. I didn't know if they were common enough for a dozen of them, to be honest.
Yeah, barely,
all
but
right.
yeah.
All right. Well, there you go. You learn something new every day.
Yeah.
So, on the video game side, again, I think you've touched on it a bit, but you've been a long time World of Warcraft player. I
Yeah.
think you're playing it back before they came, like back when vanilla was vanilla, right?
Yes.
And before it came back around,
Yeah.
because what's old is new again for some reason.
Yes.
So would you say World of Warcraft is your favorite game? Maybe with Minecraft, I guess, being a close second, or is there any
Yeah.
other video games out there that really get you going?
I also like Terraria. That's a really fun game. I like sandbox type games a
Okay,
lot. I like building stuff. I recently started playing Valheim, and
it's the
I'm
Viking
not.
one, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, and
Okay.
I'm not good at it, but I'm enjoying building. So I've got that going for me.
See, that's good. You enjoy the building part of it.
Yeah,
I played a game that was similar to those because I love dinosaurs.
yeah.
Ark, and
Oh yeah.
yeah, I couldn't. It. I'm not good at those games. That's
I
for sure.
looked at it. I didn't pick it up, but I looked at it.
Yeah, anytime other people can just walk up to you and punch you in the face and take your stuff and your dinosaurs,
I
it's
don't
just,
like that.
I
Yeah,
don't like it either. So
yeah.
yeah, yeah
I'm
my
I'm
dream.
not. I played WoW initially on a
Mm-hmm.
PvP server. And the thing I liked about PvP and WoW is they didn't take your stuff. I
Yeah.
don't like games where they take your stuff.
Mm,
Um, that's not my bag. Um, I do enjoy PvP. I think it offers a different sort of challenge
sure.
because you're
You
not
got to
just
watch
playing
your ass the
against an
whole time.
AI pattern based
Yeah.
element.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I like the challenge of it, but for the most part, I tend to prefer just crafting and
Mm-hmm.
building and that kind of stuff. I like
Nice.
creation in games.
Fun, fun, fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
For those of you on the podcast, I wish you could see Chris's face right now.
So on another serious question, what's your favorite thing to put on a hot dog?
Ketchup.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh.
I know. I'm a monster.
No, it's all right. I mean, I had this question and I asked a lot of people it, and I didn't expect ketchup to come up as often as it does, and
It is
because
the
it goes
hot dog condiment.
no mustard is, but it's
Ew.
like I consider ketchup to be the antithesis of what goes on a hot dog. But I realized that I might be the outlier for this because
Yeah.
so many people have said. But I heard an interesting fact about this recently because I asked somebody else this question and it didn't come up. Actually, I didn't bring it up again when we followed up on it. But they've said that actually there's kind of a ketchup shortage, not in the sense that there's like a bottle ketchup shortage. Like
Yeah.
there's plenty of that, but because of
Packets.
Corona, packets
Yep.
are in high
There's a
demand.
ketchup packet shortage right now.
Yeah, that's fascinating. What happens to the world when certain things,
Yeah.
lifestyles change, and
Yeah.
what do you need to
So
produce?
many
Yeah,
people have started dining from takeout restaurants and drive-through that the demand on ketchup packets has increased and they can't keep up with it.
yeah. They should visit all of my old apartments. All the refrigerators.
Just go to everybody's junk drawer.
Just juncture, you will find plenty of ketchup packets there for sure. I'm not even questioning it.
Go look in the junk/sauce drawer and you'll find
Yeah,
what you need.
right there next to all the soy sauce. I
Right?
That's not Kinkerman. Um, yeah. Sorry, I had for those that were like, what was that long pause before the hot dog question? It was me blanking on what to ask next. So
He got this delightful wide-eyed smile though.
yeah,
It
well
was great.
that's where I go to. It's a defense mechanism. It's like Puss in Boots and like other cute animals. They just go. I try to do that, like to try and dissuade the predators from taking me out. So
It works.
yeah, it does. It
Yeah.
does. So Another thing, I guess, for folks that would I find this interesting. So every guest that I've had on, they all do something special or different, or followed some they follow their dreams and they kind of done something that's interesting. And as we touched on early on, you're playing D&D, streaming. It's not your career. You have but
Right.
it is something that you are doing pretty passionately,
Hmm.
pretty regularly, like to a point where like you're doing something with it, and it has momentum and has the potentiality for more cool things. And if anything, at least it's something that's filling your life with joy, and you're getting a lot out of it and
Yeah.
experience. For somebody out there who like is like, oh, I like doing D&D, and I like getting on streams, or I think I might,
Hmm.
what can you recommend for people who want to get into this or try it, or start, like some basic steps to, like, I mean, there's no guarantees in life, right?
Right.
That's for
Right.
sure. But what would you recommend, at least for someone who wants to get started in this? What would you suggest they do?
Honestly, one of my biggest suggestions is get on Twitter and get into the D&D community, or the tabletop RPG community. There are people who are looking for folks to join their streams all the time. You can usually find, they'll call them casting calls or player searches, and you can find them on there. The other option is put a table together yourself. Everything right now is, with the streaming content, is open to anybody who wants to, and you can reach out and contact companies, and discuss. Once you've gotten established, you can discuss with them the possibility of sponsorships.
That's nice.
You're probably not going to get in with WotC or one of the big companies right off the bat. They're going to want to see that you've got an audience
Mhm.
that they can benefit from a relationship in. But when you get into it yourself, you have full control over what you put out, and that can give you the advantage of doing something unique that nobody else is doing. Watch other streams, see what works, what doesn't, and incorporate that into your own work. It makes a difference if you get a feel for what people like and what isn't working, what people don't necessarily care for. Do not expect to be Critical Role. They are the
What?
anomaly.
The
Uh,
outlier?
they are the outlier.
They're the people who like mustard, it seems.
They are the horseradish
The
on a hot
horseradish.
dog
Oh my
people.
god, they are the outlier.
No, they
You know what?
had.
Still sounds better than ketchup. But anyway, go on.
Oh, you're weird. They had the advantage of already having an established fan base before they started, and what they put out is so incredible. They were able to snowball, basically. You're not going to have that starting out as a new stream. So don't compare yourself to them. You can take the things that appeal to you about them and try to adapt that into your own game, but don't expect to beat them. Find what makes you unique, what makes you great, and bring that to your game. It will make all the difference, and it will engage people.
Yeah.
And don't
You'll
get
find your
frustrated.
community. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, consistency,
Remember,
right?
you're playing a game. Have fun with it.
Fun, and it's a marathon, not a sprint, right?
Yes.
Like it's not. I think a lot of people get confused on what they consider overnight successes, and I think you hit it well with saying, pointing out that Critical Role already had like
Yeah.
a
They
good
were
number
all
of people
professional voice actors
who
from
had a
popular
following.
properties.
Yeah, that came together and made another kick-ass product, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and they've improved over the years as well, right? Like they didn't. I mean,
Yes.
they still actually had a pretty good show in the beginning,
Yeah.
but
But they've grown.
they've grown and production values increased, right? It's
Yeah.
I
The
worked in
production value, their comfort with what they're doing, and they manage to play characters while letting their own personality shine through. And that's, I think, one of the things that has really endeared them to the community is you've gotten to see who they are to a degree. And if you can bring that sort of energy, allow your, like with D4, we do sponsor shout outs at the beginning of our show.
They're fun.
And they are fun. We have a blast doing them. One of the other cast members, Patrick Logan, handles the sponsor shout outs for D&D Beyond. Mm-hmm. And he has me dying every week. And he does his sponsor shout out right before mine. So I'm usually just kind of sitting there staring at the camera going, I don't know how to follow that. I have no clue what to do now.
Wow. Well, you obviously pull out a sock puppet or something.
Yes, I have pulled out sock puppets. I have done sea shanties. I have belittled the wardrobe of our viewers. But it's a lot of fun. We have a really good time with it, and we have great relationships with our sponsors as a result. So it's good stuff. But just make sure you're having fun with it, because if you're not having fun, people will know, and it will translate, and they're not going to want to connect with what you're doing. So that's probably my best advice.
That's great advice. I think it's great advice, and I think it rings true to building a community and finding the love of what you do. And if you have passion for it, besides dice, you can achieve really fun stuff and enjoy yourself.
And that does bring up another good point. Engage with your community.
Yeah.
These are the people who are letting you do what you want to do, who are supporting you, and you owe what you have to them to a degree. I mean, you're putting in your own work, and because it is work. It's not just showing up and playing a game. There's work behind it. But these are the people who support you, and without them, you'd just be playing in a void. So what's the point of streaming in a void? Like you need to show them you appreciate them as much as they appreciate you.
I think it's great. Have fun, enjoy your community, build that community. Mm-hmm. I think, like Nike says, just do it.
Yep.
Yeah. So, Katie, as we come towards the end of this wonderful conversation of dice and D&D and leadership and walking in nature and Stella barking, what how can the listeners and the viewers, depending on where we're catching this, how can they get more Goblin Katie Downey? I'm assuming that's the first stop is just putting Goblin Katie, but
yes, if you search Goblin Katie, as far as I know, I'm the only one who's really using that name, so you can find me through that. Mm-hmm. I'm on Twitch at Goblin Katie. I'm on Instagram at Goblin Katie. And I've got a Goblin Katie page on Facebook. I'm on Twitter at Goblin Katie, and Twitter's where I'm most active. You can also go to Linktree, that's linktr.ee/Goblin Katie, and it's GOBLINKATIE. And if you go to the Linktree, it's got links to all my stuff, from my Twitter to I've got lists for dice on Amazon and stuff like that. So that's a really good way to get to where I'm at everywhere.
If you check the liner notes, it'll be there.
Oh, yeah. See, there you go. Like I said, you can catch me every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time at twitch.tv/Goblin Katie for Classic Brunch, where I play Classic World of Warcraft with the wonderful and delightful D&D Jordan Lee. And we play that till about 2:00. At 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch me on D4 at twitch.tv/RockPunchATL. And that is an absolute blast of a game. We have a lot of fun playing that. We just had our 100th episode a couple weeks ago, so there's a lot of content there you can catch up on. But we have people who join in.
Okay.
We have people who join in, and actually, right now isn't a bad time because we just left the city of Waterdeep, so we're starting out on chapter 2 of the campaign. Basically, we took a long time to get through Waterdeep Dragon Heist. we played Dragon Heist for about 2 years, so that's the level of role play and depth, because we went on side quests and stuff like that. So,
side quests.
I love side quests. I'm a
Yeah.
side quest junkie. Like I said, you can catch the Stellar Arcanum podcast on any major streaming service or podcasting service, excuse me. And we are hopefully going to be releasing new content in the near future. Because of the world catching on fire, we had to go on hiatus from recording, but we've started getting back into the studio now that people are getting vaccinated and all that. And then just keep an eye on my Twitch and Twitter, because I'll do charity games, which I'll announce through Twitter, and you can catch them there.
Excellent. Anything else? Anything else you'd like to promote or talk about? Shout out?
Let's see.
It was a
Can
lot.
I shout out a couple friends?
Of course, please do.
Awesome.
Yeah. Tell us about other awesome people.
Yes. I know some wonderful people, and I'm a firm believer that a rising tide lifts all ships. So I'm gonna shout them out real quick. D&D Jordan Lee. You can find her on Twitter at D&D Jordan Lee. She streams Dead by Daylight, does a lot of tabletop streaming, and is one of the kindest, warmest, most wonderful people you will find. She calls her community the Haven, and it is well named. You can find the Crafting Muse, on Twitch and on Twitter, rather. She is a representative for WizKids and does a lot of miniature painting and product reveals for them. Then there's DM Jazzy Hands, who is also a Twitch streamer. He plays Dragon Age and a few other games, and he is also just a wonderful, phenomenal role player. He plays on a few different games that you can catch. Motherlands RPG and Rivals of Waterdeep, who just went on hiatus. Both shows are absolutely amazing. If you get the chance, Motherlands is about to start their second season, and that is an all POC stream. So everybody involved in it is a person of color, and they are phenomenal. Definitely go check them out.
Cool. Well, we'll make sure to add those to the notes as well, so everybody can.
Thanks. Yeah.
All those folks. Yeah. No, it's so great. And what's so great is thank you again so much for joining us and sharing your awesome experience doing what you do and being you. So I'm pretty sure all the viewers and all the listeners will love you as much as we do, and I'm positive once you check out Goblin Katie, wherever all the million places that she's at, you'll find out just how much more wonderful she is than just what she was able to talk about here in this hour. So thank you so much again, Katie, for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It was a wonderful experience. Excellent. And everybody out there, be kind to yourself. Yes. You're doing great.